Welcome back to Brashonomics. So, here we are in the new year, and a lot of people maybe looked back on the past year, looking forward to the rest of their lives, and realize that, well, you know what? Maybe they don't want to work at all. For somebody else, anyways. They want to start their own business, and it's such an exciting time to be able to do that. John Miller joins us, a CPA here in Bellevue, and also a tax and accounting partner with GDM Private Financial Solutions with over 23 years of experience. John, how are you, buddy?
Fantastic. It's a new year and a great new start.
So a lot of people probably don't start with the accountant when it comes to creating, going and talking about their new business.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think, I got to go see an attorney or, maybe I need to go down to City Hall and figure out how to get a business license. But CPAs can definitely be a resource, as can others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when people start, these new, because there are a lot of people have new ventures. I've heard something along the lines of like 50% of business licenses just are become a piece of paper that are mailed in and then nobody does anything. But when a business is setting new goals, we were just talking back and forth before, while we were off the air about some of these false, items that a lot of business people or new businesses think they need.
Right. I've been talking about this for years, Ben. Whenever people come to me and want to start a business, a lot of times they'll think, well, I got to start a business plan. I need a website. I need all these things. Well, in terms of, let's talk just business plan. I've told people for years, you can spend 45 days, 2 months, writing a business plan, and what are you? 2 months poor, really.
Yeah.
Or you can start with the idea of let me build a budget, figure out the pricing for my product or service, build a quick marketing plan, come up with some ideas of how to go to market, and even without a website, I can start selling.
Well, there's another great book called Rework that says, planning is guessing. So you can spend all this time with this great business plan, and then you take make one little change at the beginning, and all that work goes out the window.
And that's my exact point to entrepreneurs. You do not know what's going to work. And we see it over and over because we service hundreds of businesses. We don't know why the public is going to respond to your product or business initially. But if we try different advertising and marketing techniques, maybe some networking, maybe some social media, maybe website and web marketing, we're going to figure out what's starting to yield results for you. And when we do, then let's just repeat that. But if you plan, and never go into action, that's a surefire methodology for failure and quick failure.
Do a lot of people do that consult with you? They come in with their ideas, but they never get to action?
I think there are a lot of dreamers out there that do want to do things. I find that people, if they take action just in coming to me, usually that's a step that I think they're going to take action. Mm-hmm. I did have a couple in my office a few weeks ago. We ended up actually closing their business because they weren't making money. They'd tried some marketing methods. They actually had invested a tremendous amount of money in their business and realized it just didn't work. Then they went back to the drawing board, and a few days later they came back to me and said, hey, look, We've reworked our business. We're going to try a different strategy, a different business model. We're going to do it this way. What are your thoughts? And I said, hey, great. The only trouble was I knew a lot about that business. And I said, you're priced wrong. Mm-hmm. You need to increase your pricing. And that's one danger I do see in new entrepreneurs is they think to be able to get new business, they've got to undercut the market with pricing. And that is absolutely the wrong strategy for a new entrepreneur.
Where do you think people should start? What is a good starting point?
Like I said, I think it's not wrong to...
It's not business cards. People are like, I need business cards.
Well, it's not wrong to plan, okay? You've got to do some planning. But I could have a business up and running in 2 or 3 days, really. And that includes, even a corporation. You could have a corporation within about 3 to 5 days, be up and running. What I'd want you to have is a kind of a clear idea on your product or service. Granted, you're not going to go out and engineer a new product, but, maybe if you were a distributor and you had some supplier relationships, you could be selling pretty quickly. But I'd build a basic idea around your product or service, and then I'd build a budget. What are you going to sell it for? How many do you need to sell? What are your costs? We can build a budget pretty quickly. And then finally, how do you go to market? What are the marketing tools you're going to use to sell your service or your product? Once you've got that in place, it's time to move into action. Mm-hmm. And I think somebody could be in business very, very quickly compared to what, I get concerned when I see government websites that say, spend all this time and money doing all these things. And other people who say you've got to invest tremendous resources into a business. I'm kind of the attitude now, increasingly, I see people who are successful who are bootstrappers. And by that I mean they start with very little money, they start with an idea or a dream, and they move into action as quickly as possible. And then they're willing to move on their marketing ideas. If something's not working, they try something else.
You know, you talk, I think it's interesting bringing this up because a lot of people look at Disney.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Disney's huge corporation. And then, of course, Disney's, little motto is like, it was all started by a mouse. And I think that's kind of what people have to get back to, though. It's like, yeah, sure, people have these grandiose ideas of, I'm going to be the next, Microsoft or Facebook, right? I mean, that's the new one. I think we could be the next Facebook.
Right.
That's what people say. But, Facebook was started with like one little school and the guys tinkering around. I mean, so many ideas come out of action and not out of planning. I mean, I don't think that Walt Disney sat there and as he's doodling his, Mickey Mouse guy, he's like, dude, one day this is going to be amusement parks.
Right, and he certainly didn't think DVDs in that time frame.
Or Blu-rays or Pixar or any of that stuff.
Now, I do have a lot of companies who've come to me over the years and said, look, we're the next, say, Facebook, or we're the next .com, billion-dollar company. And I kind of, I have to suppress my smiles a little bit because I've seen a lot of those companies. I'll quickly form my formations on how quickly they move into action. Again, if they're always planning, and I see this a lot with software companies, they're always planning or they're never getting to release because they have to make some tweak or they have to finish some part of their product. I've read a lot, seen a lot, and experienced a lot to know you're never going to go to market with the best product or service right out of the gate. You're just going to take action, you're going to start moving on that, and then you're going to fix it as things go along. I often say, look, it's progress, not perfection. You've just got to make progress on this.
And once you get those clients and you can get feedback, and I think some of the feedback you get, that is like gold. I mean, when we've done some businesses together, I have a guy who I work real closely with, and we had somebody cancel their subscription, and that was like gold. It's like, wait, why? Like and that was like the most, probably one of the most important conversations I had was, and then we couldn't have gotten that without launching. And to be able to get that and then go, okay, these are the things we need to fix, because I think to your point, you can't just start fixing things to fix things. They may have little to no value to your customers.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think losing customers, as you said, is not really necessarily a bad thing. One is you can learn something tremendous from it. We've lost customers in our business for all kinds of reasons, including businesses closing.
Sure.
One of the reasons we want to know is why. And that's great feedback. But more importantly, I think sometimes we need to have the confidence to let go of some customers. I've had customers let go of me only to think 5 minutes later, you know what? For the last year, I've been wanting to let them go anyways because their life is in total chaos. And they don't meet our customer model because in my own business, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm getting closer and closer to the kind of customer that I'm striving to attract as well. And I'm sure you do as well, Ben. Because you target a particular kind of customer because that's of greater value to your business. You make a greater profit. You do all kinds of things. It's just like Southwest doesn't go after certain types of travelers, and neither does United Airlines. And Nordstrom doesn't try to attract a Walmart shopper. It's the same in any business. You've got to be willing to let go of the customer that doesn't meet your model and strive to attract the right model. And sometimes that's just letting go of customers who came along for the ride in the beginning but now no longer make sense.
We see that in the mortgage business a lot because people will call and it's more along the lines of, okay, yeah, I'm ready to get approved. I want to go buy a house. Okay, great. Here's what you need to do. Well, I'm not ready to do that. Okay, so here's the deal. If you want to get pre-approved, you have to send in your stuff, and then we can do that. I won't send out a pre-approval letter for you without knowing what your income and your credit and these things are. And so sometimes clients will be, well, then I'm just going to go find somebody who will. Okay. I mean, okay, that's fine.
And I think, Ben, that's the right attitude. Why waste your time with a tire kicker when you could spend your time qualifying 2 other people who are ready to go, ready to buy a house? It's the same in business. The same concept applies.
John, we just have about a minute left. Again, we're here with John Miller with GDM Private Financial Solutions. The other piece I think that is interesting is Seth Godin made a really good point called the dip, where a lot of new businesses get started and you have this lots of energy and fun going on. And then you're going to reach this point where all of a sudden it's like, why are we doing this? And then he calls it the dip. When you get to that point, that's when the rubber really hits the road. And it's like, all right, who's really in? Because it's easy to get started. Anybody can get started.
Right. Well, I can only comment what I've done in those moments. And, one of those things I did this year, and I went and took a vacation. I went to Maui for 10 days and got my head back on.
Yeah.
And being away from your business is just as important in working in your business and working on your business. That being away time gave me the emotional and physical energy to then come back and get in the fight. Number two is every year we try to do a retreat as business owners. So I have two other partners. And in that retreat, we throw a lot of stuff up on a whiteboard. And we're thinking about our business in different ways. And then we involve our staff. This year was probably our most tremendous opportunity for doing that because we merged two practices together in our business. And we identified about 22 major business processes in our business, 5 of which were competitive. And we said, now as partners, we're only working on our competitive business processes. Everything else we're delegating to our staff. What did that do for us? It simplified my life. And number two, more importantly, it actually felt my staff felt like they were important now because now they can work on a part of the business. I no longer own some things in my business. A staff member does. So I think, an annual company retreat or some way to get away and play in your business and then time being away from your business on a vacation or spending time with your family are invaluable for being able to process what's going on and get your energy back for your business.
John, I like talking about all these different things. Hope you'll come back soon. Again, John Miller, CPA with GDM Private Financial Solutions. When we come back, if you are considering starting your own business, it may be because of what happened last year. Well, we're going to take a quick look back at the real estate market of last year and give you some of those big numbers that are looking a lot better than, say, a year ago did for 2 years ago. We'll be right back after this break.